Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. This week, CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba, which has run out of oil and is experiencing massive blackouts. We sent the CIA director because the FBI guy is also experiencing massive blackouts.
I love it. 2 employees at a Smoothie King in Michigan were reportedly fired after refusing to serve a smoothie to a man who was wearing a President Trump hoodie, which is crazy. I mean, what happened to being civil and just serving a smoothie with spit in it?
President Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping. When asked how the meeting went, Trump said this.
But overall, I guess on the scale of from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12.
I guess Trump just wanted to show China we're still way worse at math.
A federal appeals court has restricted abortion access by blocking the mailing of a popular abortion drug. But just remember, any drug can be an abortion drug if you do it enough.
According to a senior official, President Trump keeps a letter in the Resolute desk addressed to Vice President J.D. Vance in the event he dies or is assassinated. The letter reads simply, "I wish it had been you."
Detractors on CNN are saying that Trump had no authorization for this war, but he actually did. Netanyahu said it was okay. I can't believe our leader could just attack Iran with no vote, no permission from Congress or anything. I mean, what is this, Iran?
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, seen here right after the bartender cut him off, testified before Congress where he revealed that the current estimate for the war in Iran is $25 billion a gallon. Also, how has the war already cost $25 billion? What are we bombing them with? White House ballrooms?
President Trump has rejected Iran's latest demands to end the war, including recognition of Iranian sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz and U.S. war reparations. You want reparations from America? Get in line, honey. The CIA is reportedly working to arm local militias in Iran with the hopes that they will lead an uprising. Hey, worked great in Afghanistan. President Trump said that he should be involved in choosing Iran's next supreme leader. So congrats to new supreme leader Ayatollah Jared Kushner.
The state of Texas is suing Tylenol, claiming that it is linked to autism, or as it's called in Texas, boy ain't right.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said she thinks it's possible America has already had a gay president. And here's a guess, maybe it's the one obsessed with ballrooms and the Village People.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., seen here back from his mission to the sun, said he's recovering from rotator cuff surgery on his shoulder. Well, look who needs me now, said Tylenol.
Health Secretary RFK Jr. posted a picture of himself holding a bird he caught at Dulles Airport, and then a second picture of himself burping feathers. Is that too real?
Too real. Health Secretary RFK Jr., seen here showing how vaccines turn you gay, said that during an Oval Office event that in 1970, men had twice the sperm count as our teenagers do today. The teenage sperm counts were measured at the You Sure This Is Legal Institute.
Yesterday, Kamala Harris said she is thinking about running for president again. And I like her chances as long as she finally grows that penis. I tried to keep a straight face as long as I could. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that he is launching a new podcast. The podcast is called
Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is what happens if you leave Walton Goggins in an air fryer.
That's fun.
Said that he will challenge Dunkin' Donuts to prove that their sugary drinks are safe. You know what that means? A push-up contest with Ben Affleck.
A homeless man in Florida was arrested after trespassing on a yacht and saying that he was holding it for his friend, President Trump, as well as making other unbelievable claims like, I was mayor of New York City. That was my impression of Kate doing it.
It was also reported Friday that the U.S. economy added over 300,000 jobs. Unfortunately, most of them are bridge fixer.
Experts are saying that 2 different broods of cicadas will hatch this month, releasing trillions of cicadas into the U.S. And Biden is just letting them in.
Police in New Jersey are investigating a construction site after a porta potty mysteriously exploded. Though in New Jersey, that's just the sound of an angel getting its wings.
Oh. That's beautiful. Officials have for the first time approved building casinos in New York City, including one in the Bronx. Because let's be honest, every visit to the Bronx is a gamble.
Oh, that... A pig named Merlin that can talk using pre-programmed buttons has set a new world record for largest Instagram following for a pig. And then set the record for smartest pork chop.
A former Olympic athlete who promoted the run, walk, run strategy to running has died at the age of 80. Cause of death was listed as run, walk, bus.
A new study finds that the best city in the country for retirees is Orlando, Florida, while the worst city for retirees is Slippery Bathtub, Wisconsin. A growing number of studies show that watching short-form videos can lead to mental cognition problems. So if you're watching this on TikTok,
This week, President Trump met at the White House with the president of Brazil, a parrot with a BBL. I really wanted that one to work. Kamala Harris has reportedly told donors that she wants the DNC to release its autopsy of what went wrong in the 2024 campaign. Autopsy? Come on, he's not dead. You like how sassy I am?
Yes, I do. A number of bars around the country have implemented a policy banning cell phones. This, according to a recent lie a man told his wife.
FIFA announced that this year's World Cup final will have a halftime show featuring Madonna, Shakira, and BTS, which is being described as something for everyone to dislike.
A woman has filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of assault and dangling her off a 17-story balcony, which is just incredible grip strength for a guy coated in baby oil. British officials have blocked Ye from entering the country to perform at a music festival, despite his offer to meet with members of England's Jewish community, which he thinks are the bank goblins from Harry Potter. Wow, we just learned a lot about you. Ye! Ye has released a new album called Bully. So please try to separate the art from the artist. And remember that Ye can make awful music and still be right about Hitler.
That's a thinker.
Ye took out a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal apologizing for his past anti-Semitic comments, saying they were due to an undiagnosed brain injury from a car crash 25 years ago. Damn. Even when it comes to excuses, he's a creative genius.
This week marks the 40th anniversary of the modern NBC Peacock logo, which debuted in 1986. And if that peacock could talk, I bet it'd say, Bill Cosby raped me.
This week, Live with Kelly and Mark reran an episode from 2023 in which host Kelly Ripa begs to go on Diddy's yacht. Even crazier, SNL is airing an episode right now with a guy who was on Diddy's yacht last week. Same Taco Bell person liked it.
The winners of the annual wife carrying contest in England was a couple from Finland, while once again the winner of the husband carrying contest was Scarlett.
We're really learning a lot about you.
Oh no.
A man in Canada saved his wife after a polar bear lunged at her and he leapt onto the bear's back, shouting, "Finish her!" In honor of Women's History Month, Mattel is releasing a line of Barbie dolls that celebrates female friendships. And maybe they're such good friends that they kiss?
Amazon Prime has launched a new tool that will use AI to dub movies into English from foreign languages like Spanish, Korean, and Sylvester Stallone.
A new report finds that the state with the most adult children still living with their parents is New Jersey. Adult children in New Jersey are calling their report, "Ma, why you gotta tell them that for?"
We've known for a long time that President Trump once had an affair with Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. But yesterday, we learned more about the conspiracy to keep this affair quiet, thanks to Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney and Sopranos background actor. You didn't even notice him in the picture, do you? Because, you see, it turns out, like so many Sopranos characters, Cohen was wearing a wire.
This is a secret recording provided by Michael Cohen's lawyer. Cohen and then candidate Donald Trump discussing paying for former playmate Karen McDougal's story of an alleged affair.
Watching Melania and Trump appear together in public often feels less like witnessing a loving marriage and more like watching the world's coldest business arrangement play out in front of the cameras. She stands beside him, gives a controlled nod when required, offers those painfully stiff smiles at just the right moments, and does exactly enough to fulfill the role without ever looking truly comfortable in it. Every public appearance seems to carry that same drained energy, like someone silently counting the seconds until the moment is finally over. Whether it is Melania walking several steps behind Trump during major public events, avoiding certain gestures, or delivering birthday wishes with the emotional warmth of someone reading a grocery receipt, people keep noticing the same pattern again and again. The chemistry does not feel natural. It does not feel affectionate. It feels frozen, distant, and almost staged, like two strangers forced into an awkward photo session they both want to escape. And then Trevor Noah stepped in and shined a spotlight directly on the whole uncomfortable dynamic, making it almost impossible for the public to ignore. Suddenly, the internet was not just laughing at one awkward moment. People were questioning whether they were watching a romance that had completely collapsed behind the scenes, or a carefully maintained partnership being performed for cameras, headlines, and political image. Either way, the situation instantly became comedy fuel, and Trevor Noah knew exactly how to turn that tension into television gold. But Trump's reaction did not feel like a calm response. It came across like a full-scale online eruption the moment Trevor mocked his marriage on live TV. Once the jokes landed, it almost felt inevitable that Trump would respond with anger, denial, and the kind of exaggerated defensiveness that only made the story even bigger. There was no way he was going to sit quietly while a comedian challenged the image of his so-called perfect relationship, especially when so many people already believed they had seen enough awkward signs to suggest things were not as flawless as Trump wanted the world to believe.
Mrs. Trump, Melania Trump, the international cover girl, has now joined us. We got to discuss the media. How did you two meet?
We met in New York, 1998. It was a fashion week, September 1998.
The famous fashion week.
The famous fashion week in
Were
New York.
you introduced?
Well, no, we were both at the same party, and that's how we met. He came to
right
me.
away?
I went crazy. I said, I was actually supposed to meet somebody else, and there was this great supermodel sitting next to Melania, and I was supposed to meet the supermodel, and they were saying, look, there's so-and-so. I said, forget about her. Who's the one on the left? And it was Melania.
Did you like him right away?
It was a great chemistry and energy, We had, great time. We started to talk, and, it was something was there right away.
Trump fired back almost immediately, unloading on Truth Social with the energy of a man trying to bury public embarrassment under a mountain of noise. The posts came out with all the familiar ingredients people have come to expect from him. Huge confidence on the surface, dramatic language in every direction, and underneath it all, the unmistakable frustration of someone who felt personally humiliated in front of the entire country. Every sentence sounded louder than the last, as if saying it with enough force would somehow make the criticism disappear. He did not simply defend his relationship with Melania. He tried to elevate it into something almost legendary, painting their marriage like it was some historic love story that the world should admire without question. Naturally, the internet had an absolute field day with that claim, because nothing says calm, stable, and deeply secure relationship quite like launching into a frantic social media spiral after a late-night comedian makes fun of you on television. The harder Trump pushed back, the more desperate the whole thing started to look. Instead of shutting the joke down, his reaction gave people even more reason to talk about it. Online reactions only grew louder as viewers watched him refuse to let the situation fade away. The more he insisted everything was perfect, the more people replayed those awkward clips, studied Melania's expressions, and questioned why the response seemed so intense in the first place. What could have been a one-night comedy segment suddenly turned into a bigger conversation. Not because Trevor Noah said it, but because Trump reacted like the joke had struck a nerve.
Moments randomly in hosting the show was I saw a what was it? What do they call them? Do they call them a truth social? That like fake Twitter that no one, even the right wingers aren't on really? A truth, right? I don't know what it is. Anyway, a what? No, it's called Truth Social, I think. No one cares. Anyway, the point is Trump sent out one of his thingies. I don't know what they called, and it was like Trevor Noah was never funny. Jon Stewart was only slightly better. And then he goes on a rant, and he's just like, these people don't realize if they moved more to the center like me, they would have more followers. Then I'm like, center like you? I'm like, my man, you think you're in the middle? But what was funny was someone was like, oh, he said that you're not funny, and I was like, yeah, I read that, but I was like, oh, so you what?
And then, almost right on cue, Fox News seemed to jump straight into emergency cleanup mode. Late-night clips were spreading everywhere, social media was running wild with jokes, and headlines kept multiplying across the internet. Suddenly, the conversation shifted. It was no longer just about the awkward public dynamic between Trump and Melania. It became about protecting the image, defending the couple, and turning the criticism into another political battle. The strategy felt obvious from the beginning. Redirect the conversation, change the narrative, and repeat the new version loudly enough until something sticks. Before long, viewers were hearing endless complaints about Hollywood elites, liberal comedians, and biased media figures supposedly attacking an innocent, hardworking couple. But what many people noticed was that the conversation was being pulled away from the uncomfortable public moments everyone had already seen with their own eyes. There were dramatic speeches about media bias. There were accusations of fake news. There were carefully assembled panels where everyone somehow seemed to arrive at the exact same conclusion. Trump and Melania were not awkward, distant, or uncomfortable at all. Instead, they were being portrayed as the ideal modern marriage, misunderstood by cruel critics and unfairly targeted by the entertainment world. At a certain point, it stopped feeling like actual news coverage and started looking more like a coordinated public relations campaign. The goal seemed less about answering the jokes and more about smothering them completely, replacing the internet's laughter with a cleaner, safer, more flattering storyline. But the problem was simple. Once people had already seen the awkward clips, no amount of polished commentary could make them unseeable.
Fall in love then?
It was a connection. Mm-hmm. It was a connection.
Mm-hmm. You said our chemistry was undeniable. Our connection felt natural. In private, he revealed himself as a gentleman, displaying tenderness and thoughtfulness.
But while Trump was flooding social media and Fox News was working overtime to reshape the conversation, Melania herself was completely missing from the chaos. No public defense, no emotional statement, no interview, no carefully staged appearance beside her husband to prove everything was perfectly normal. Just silence. And somehow, that silence spoke louder than anything else happening around the story. Trump has always thrived on attention, conflict, and public battles. When he feels attacked, he pushes back loudly, directly, and repeatedly. But Melania has always handled controversy in the opposite way. When things become messy, she often disappears from the center of the storm. She does not jump into arguments. She does not rush to explain herself, and she certainly does not seem eager to correct every public theory about her marriage. Instead, she steps away from the spotlight and leaves Trump standing there on his own, trying to convince everyone that nothing is wrong. That absence became part of the story. People were not only watching what Trump said, they were also watching what Melania did not say. Social media noticed the pattern immediately, and the speculation exploded. Some people joked that she was probably rolling her eyes behind closed doors. Others imagined her wanting to escape the drama entirely. Some wondered whether she even cared enough to follow the meltdown at all, or whether she was ignoring the whole thing the same way many viewers believe she had ignored those awkward public hand-holding moments over the years. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had a question. But the loudest part of the entire story was not Trump's anger.